Good evening, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Hola, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It's 9 p.m. in Tunis. It's 3 p.m. in eastern part of USA and Canada. And tonight, I'm really honored to host one of the most outstanding leaders that I knew, and also one of the most outstanding trainer worldwide. 2004 JCI World President and also founder of Click Institute. Fernando Sanchez Arias. Hola, Fernando. You're
Thank you
back.
for us for having me. I'm sorry that I have some challenges with the connection. I'm driving from a city named Fredericksburg in Texas. This is Thanksgiving break
Yeah.
in the United States, so we have this break normally to go with the family to
Yeah, so it's I think some challenges with the connection actually. Yeah, Fernando is traveling, but he wanted to be with us. You can ask your questions. Let me introduce Fernando. Fernando is one, as I said, one of the most outstanding trainers worldwide. He delivered a
some.
lot of trainings. Yeah, yeah, listening to you, Fernando. I know that you have some challenges with the connection, but we will deal with.
Thank you. So thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to share my experience and thoughts and questions with the audience.
Yeah, so I want to ask all the audience that you can interact with us on internet, on Facebook Live. Actually, you can ask your questions. As I told you, Fernando was the JCI World President in 2004, and he did a lot for JCI. We had also a lot of changes in his era of leadership. Actually, Fernando, you launched something great, which is the Click Institute, a think tank. We'll be back to this great institute and also all its programs. But now I want to know you more. I know that you are involved in education. You have your PhD. You are from Venezuela. But tell us more about you, please.
Yep. So in terms of education, I was fortunate to study at a Pedro Emilio Cole Institute of Technology, which is an institute of technology in the city where I was born in
Mhm.
Maracaibo, Venezuela. Then I was fortunate program to develop your skills as a coach, as an executive coach,
Mhm.
and between Newfield Consulting and the technology. A great opportunity to be part on and doctoral study in Pennsylvania. And now I am transferring to obtain my PhD in the University Ramon Llull in Barcelona, Spain, with research on cross-cultural communications and international business, based on the research that I was conducting in the University of Pennsylvania in regards to cultural intelligence and international businesses in cross. I work as development and management. So my background is focused in two areas: human capital management and human capital development. I have been chief learning officer of a manufacturing oil and gas company, and also as a chief people officer of an interconnected and innovation retail unit of Home Depot, which is one of the largest retailers in the world in home
Mhm.
improvement, the number one in the world, Fortune 20 in the United States. And recently, as you said, I have been having a wonderful experience with different researchers, scholars, and practitioners from different environments, non-profit and for-profit, around the concept of creating ideas to build the awareness that is needed and the advocacy that is needed, and take the actions that are needed in terms of diversity from the cultural, cognitive, and identity perspective, and its influence in education and in innovation. And of course, the other two topics among the 13 topics based on the Sustainable Development Goals
Mm.
from the think tank that are humanization of digital transformation and the mobility of people, social mobility connected to better quality of education, upskilling, re-skilling, and out-skilling.
Very good. When did you started the training? Was it in JCI or outside?
It is a combination, but really, Junior Chamber International, JCI, was the catalyzer of my training skills. I was good at speaking when I was in primary and secondary school. I was part of societies in speaking skills competitions and networks of speakers, but it was really thanks to JCI that I was in touch with practical and advanced methodologies of learning. So in 1991, I joined JCI in 1989 when I was a college student.
Mhm.
And thanks to what I learned there, I started to connect a lot of tools with my own studies at the university. But thanks to Bill Potter from New Zealand, Jerry Loving from Belgium, and Peter Sim from Malaysia, the three of them trainers of JCI, was that I really got into a new methodology at that time in 1991, the first ever Excel, that was a very renowned program for adult learners. So it was the opportunity to really be in contact with andragogy and other advanced techniques and methods to help adults to learn more effectively.
Mm. Yeah, and you reached a high level of JCI University in the former system. You are ITF, International Training Fellow, and you were involved also in leadership positions in JCI. And you reached the JCI World Presidency in 2004. And I believe that in 2004, the new logo of JCI, or the actual logo of JCI, was proposed by your board, as I remember. I don't know if Fernando, you're hearing me good? So Fernando will be back. I know that we have some challenges with internet connection. You can ask some questions. Actually, Fernando, maybe I want to suggest you. I want to get you live, but maybe I want to suggest you to turn off your camera. Maybe it will be better for the live.
Yeah. No, so in regards to your question,
Yeah.
in the
So I want to remind that. Yeah,
and the
Fernando.
member of the board
Yeah.
working change of the identity was under the director 2003 that we launched a new brand because we wanted to have a consistent brand across the world. And that was a major achievement. So it was a process of 3 years, but it was under the year of Bruce Rector that was approved. I was responsible to implement the brand. And I was part of the branding and strategic committee process that was during my year. But it was always the process of JCI is so beautiful because you have around 3 to 5 years to work in different ideas that are implemented and executed by your those who are succeeding you in your roles, and you are always part of the think this.
Mhm. Fernando, if you don't mind, let's try to turn off your camera. Maybe the signal will be better. So we can hear you. Are you hearing me well, Fernando?
Yes, perfect.
That's perfect. So let's keep it. I want to have you live, but yeah, you are traveling. Actually, maybe the signal will be better just by voice. So yeah, we got the answer from you about the identity of JCI in 2004. Let's move to your leadership path, and we have a question from Rim. She said, what means 4D leadership? Because it was announced in the talk.
Yeah, 4D leadership is an approach that I have been in the past years, the middle of this changing conditions in terms of the change in the energy industry worldwide, the change in the digital and technological transformations that the most of the countries and companies are experiencing, and
Mm-hmm.
recently accelerated by the pandemic of COVID-19. So I came out with this concept that involves four components and are 4Ds. So if we think about uh, mathematical and physical dimensions, we have our the components and objects from one side to the other side, right? From
Mm-hmm.
A to B, from east to west, right? But if you think about a higher level of dimension, you would think about two dimensions, b-dimensional, right? So it's not only to west to east, but you from one side to the other one, but you can go north and south. You can go up and you can go down. So you start to measure in a different component or object,
Mm-hmm.
geometrically speaking. And then there's the third dimension when you have actually depth. You are not only working in one vertical or horizontal, but you're going deeper, okay? And you can measure how deep is one object. So that's the third dimension. And there is a fourth dimension. In a space, we talked about the polychoro is a more complex object, geometrically speaking, but it's a multi-dimensional object. Okay, it's not limited to horizontal, it's not limited to vertical, it's not limited to have a depth, but it's also have other areas in the complex element that is. And when we connect it with time, okay, the time is another space.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fourth dimension, because time is, even though we try to measure, has different perspective and areas. For 1 minute for you can be very fast, okay, in the way that you perceive it. But for another person can look like a month, especially when you're meditating, especially when you're doing things that you like, especially when you are in a state of flow. Okay, so I took this essence and I moved I made the connection between the four physical and mathematical dimensions into what is to become a leader. It is not only it's not enough to be diverse. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when you really take a higher level of leadership, you are looking for better results and better ideas. So a high level of innovation and a high level of effectiveness, and a combination of efficiency and efficacy brings effectiveness. But if we took this combination of dimension, if you are autocratic, you are in one dimension. I tell you, it's from one side to the other one. I tell you what to do and you do it. there is another dimension that is democratic. Okay, I know I am not the only one telling you what to do. I listen to you. We listen to our bosses. We listen to our team members. I have two dimensions to see it. But then if I go to a more situational, ownership launcher, or adaptive leadership, then I will be involved in a third dimension. But for us, it's more like a spiral, okay? So it is multidimensional. So the four Ds are trying to really strengthen the fourth level of normal physical and mathematical dimensions and how they work. You have to be diverse, you have to be divergent, you have to be digital, and you have to be disruptive.
Very inspiring, Fernando. We had a question from Habiba. She said, it's a classical question, let's say. What's the difference between the leadership and the management?
Yeah, John Kotter has a clearly line to explain this. John Kotter is a former, is a retired professor of Harvard, and he was very famous from his methodology of change, but also very well known in terms of leadership.
Yeah.
And John Kotter says that, used to say, and still say it, is that a good leader is the one who sets the direction. A good manager is the one who executes it, okay? And when we talk about leaders, from our perspective, we believe, and if you remember, Fares, that when I was in JCI,
yeah,
I was fortunate to work with a team of designers and co-creators of the JCI Lead.
Yeah.
And in JCI Lead, we were talking about the hand of the leader. And the hand of the leader was talking about different roles that a leader plays and performs. So for us, from our perspective, we do not differentiate between leadership and management. We do believe that a good leader is able to lead and to manage, is able to learn and to educate, is able to coach and be a coachee, is able to set direction, but also be part of the direction. So it is for us a non-binary perspective. It's not that because I am a leader, I am not a manager. It's not that because I am not a manager or I am a manager, I will not be able to be a leader. Okay, there are roles that combine both. And for our perspective, more deeply, a leader is someone who is able to lead their thoughts, okay, his or her thoughts, her emotions or his emotions, her behaviors and his behaviors, and the way that that person is responsible for the consequences of their behaviors. So I do believe, and we believe in our institute, that leader is not an exclusive role, and that there are people that can choose to be a leader, even though the conditions and the level of authority are not allowing or giving the authority formally, but they can start being a self-leader to be able to then lead at least one person and lead a team when they are properly skilled and prepared to do it.
There is a great book, which is The Leader Who Had No Title of Robin Sharma. Do you believe that we can lead without a title?
I totally agree. In fact, great leaders have been shown that they emerge without the authority, without the title, and without the position, and they are disruptors of a status quo, and they don't need the title. In fact, having the title sometimes prevents you to exercise the real and authentic leadership that is required to transform society or to transform an organization.
You had great positions in JCI and outside JCI. How are you able to convince people to follow you? Because we want to know the secrets now. You are one of the greatest leader of JCI, but to be followed, it's not an easy mission.
I I believe that um, being follow is not the right term from
Mm-hmm.
my perspective, because I have learned, thanks to JCI and thanks to my studies at the university and in other environments, and my experience as an executive and as a consultant and a business advisor, that if you really want to build a successful and effective team, and and if you want to really have people that will be loyal to you and engage with you for decades, you should not have followers, but you should have co-creators.
Mm.
You should have people inside of your teams that are engaged in an act of co-creation, that they are not only committed, but they are also competent to add value and create results. And they don't have the fear to tell you that you're wrong or you are in a mistaken path. So you have to be able to redirect your course because they are telling you that you are not seeing what they are seeing.
Mm.
So how do I do it? First, I I inquire and I seek and I create what can be engaging for them. So I don't only think about my goal, my dream, my objective. I try to transform what is mine into what is ours, what is my way, and I transform it into our way. And
Mm-hmm.
for that, I need to understand where they're coming from. I need to know how they are and who they are. I need to know their dreams, their goals, their objectives, their fears. Eh? So I can be a catalyzer for them to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Eh? And that is critical because a leader is a servant. And a leader is only effective across cultures when he or she is able to help others to accomplish their dreams and their goals and to elevate their quality of life. So
Mm.
for me, it's not a matter of capturing followers or attracting followers. It's a matter of engaging with co-creators that will be even smarter than you, so you can accomplish the goals of the team in a more effective way.
I believe, Fernando, that this is the dream of every leader, but it's all about the casting also, because having co-creators in your team is really a dream, and this is not really a reality for companies and also organizations. You will find yourself leading people that you don't choose. So, how to create the empathy to connect, to create a link with them, and to convince them that you are the right person to lead them? This is the big question.
Yeah, that's a powerful question. And goes back to my previous answer. An effective leader,
Mhm.
based on the best leaders that I have seen in my career, and based on the best outcomes that I have obtained when I am a leader in any team or I have been a leader, is first you care about the team members. So maybe you are not selecting your team, okay? Sometimes you're blessed and you have the opportunity to do it. But the most of the time, as you're saying, Fares, you are not. So you are selected by a company or by a government team or by a nonprofit, and the most of your team members are not selected by you.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do, and I suggest anyone to do, is to have one-on-one conversations, finding out about what are their objectives, what are their specific goals and key results, what are their expectations about you as their leader, what are the main challenges that they are facing currently at the moment of your conversation, and what are the fears and what are the areas or activities that really trigger their passion,
Yeah,
okay, and their engagement. Based on that conversation and based on the things that they have seen in other leaders that are negative and they are not really helping them to engage, you will be able to build and reshape and adapt your style as a leader and your behaviors as a leader so you can actually support them to accomplish their goals inside of the team and be able to engage with the activities and execution that is required in the team.
I see. And I have two great books here, Credibility and Leadership Challenge also, of Personal Courses, which are one of the most
Yep.
bestseller worldwide about leadership. And it's all about credibility. That's the big challenge of leaders, to set their credibility, to set their leadership on the teams,
Yep.
which is a very hard mission. Um, Talking about leadership is very nice, but you had great experiences, and I believe that you had successful experiences, and also you lived failure. Would you like to share with us some, let's say, bad experiences?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think that a good leader is like a good entrepreneur.
Mhm.
A good entrepreneur, the most of the greatest entrepreneurs introduce themselves based on the failures they have had. And because good entrepreneurs know that failures make you and shape you as a good business leader.
Mhm.
So in terms of leadership, um, my biggest failures have been around three main behaviors that I have been able to learn and to continue learning. One is when you are too arrogant, when you believe that you know everything, when you believe that you're better than other people,
Mm.
and when that you are trapped into your own perspectives and own views, and you are not able to listen others.
It's ego.
And so it is ego related, is fear related, is control seeking approach. So it is it is very important that when I reflect about my failures in my past, the the lack of humility and the lack of listening skills to others emerge as one of the causes. The
Mhm.
other one is to do not think about the goals, the dreams, the dreams. So when I to my failures, I observed that when I was so focused on the goals and the targets, and I was more focused on effectiveness and accountability rather than relations. So moving my balance of energy and and focus towards results and not relationships, where the failures occur.
Mhm.
So I will say that in my past failures, I have learned how to be more humble and listen and inquire humbly, as Edgar Shane referred. And I was listening to a podcast while I was driving some hours ago, and I was learning about Ed Hess and his book. Um, Humility is the newest smart.
Mm.
So it is actually one of the components that helps you to understand better. The second one is the ability to listen more effectively. Okay, and the ability to listen with focus, and the ability to listen with what we say is mindful listening. So if you're really here and now, and you are not looking at your phone or writing something different than the one that is being said by the other person. You are not focused. So being mindful while you listen is to be there 100+% for that person. And the third one is to actually understand, know, inquire, and find out, research, study about who is your people, who are them, okay, how they are, what do they want, okay, when they want it, okay, and what really gives them joy and meaning and fulfillment. So you are, as their servant, able to remove blocks and obstacles and barriers and create opportunities and paths so they can actually be better than they ever believe possible and accomplish their goals. Because while you do that, the team will be strong, and will be strengthening their abilities to accomplish better and faster goals.
That's amazing. As a trainer, I'm living a lot of experiences here in Tunisia, even outside, but let's focus in my country. People don't believe that all the models that you shared with us, like Ken Blanchard situation leadership, or John Kotler, or all these leadership theories are suitable for our culture. You're coming from Venezuela and you're living actually in USA, and you traveled a lot. You delivered trainings for too many companies worldwide, and you met a lot of cultures. Is it real that these models are just made for the Western part of the world, or the, let's say, the developed countries?
It is really, this is a very difficult question to answer. One is because inside of cultures, you have subcultures.
Mhm.
And inside of cultures, you have not only subcultures. I can live in Tunis, but my father can be from Jordan, and
Mhm.
my mother can be from Egypt. Okay, and I have different cultures inside of my own home, and the way I am raised will be different than my neighbor. I
Yeah.
live in the same city, I live in the same country, but I will have a different subculture. So, in terms of religion, in terms of customs, and in terms of law systems, and in terms of the way that history can have been moving the people from one side of the leadership to another side of the leadership, we see that there are major differences
Mhm.
from one culture to another culture. One of the studies of von Stroppenars was that across cultures, the most effective leadership style, no matter if you were working in Middle East or Africa or Oceania or Asia Pacific or Russia, China, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, South of Europe or Scandinavia, Latin America, or United States and Canada, the more effective style of leadership was servant leadership. So no matter if I am in some countries used to have a boss that is really a boss, or a boss that is a servant leader, okay?
Mhm.
The people will always, no matter the culture, will appreciate more a caring, respectful, and considerate leader. Why? Because it is in our nature as a human being to be respected and to be considerated and to be included and to
Mhm.
be appreciated. Okay? So unless you have a pathology, a mental pathology, or you have a psychological challenge, you will always look for somebody to respect you and appreciate you. Servant leaders are there as your leader to serve you and make you better and to make the team better while they respect you, while they include you, while they appreciate what you bring and value it and recognize it and reward it. So yes, indeed, if you are an autocratic leader, you might have more effectiveness than if you are a democratic leader in some cultures. You are a democratic leader and you will have more effectiveness than if you are autocratic in another cultures. Maybe if you are situational or adaptive or transformational, you will be more effectiveness in some cultures than others. Yes, indeed, that is true, as you said. But our invitation is that the leaders who are listening to us, they work and they learn about servant leadership, and they understand that if you take the best phrases and quotes about behavior as leaders from the Quran, from the Torah, from the Bible, across the differences in Christianism, and from the Buddhists and the Shintoists, and the most of the religions, if you're able to be smart to select and extract sites and fragments of the sayings of the prophets, of the different leaders of these religions, you will find that is a service-oriented leadership, the one that triggered the most, an exemplary leadership, the leaders setting the example and preaching through behavior and not only by the word.
I see. The ITF, Catherine Brequignac from JCI France said, yeah, a leader is a servant. I agree with Fernando. Thank you so much, Catherine, for being with us. And hi to JCI
My regards to
France.
Catherine. She's a great friend and a wonderful and close collaborator in many activities that we conducted in JCI.
Of course. So let's move to trainings, because all leaders need to be trained, to be coached. And here you're seeing my shirt. We have in Arabic words that I will translate. That means this sentence, I'm a trainer, but I want to be trained. That's the message. And you are one of the most outstanding trainers. You build a lot of great programs, like how to be a dolphin in a sea of sharks, and a lot of great academies of leadership. So why do leaders need to be trained all the time or to be coached?
Well, first of all, because the most of the leaders, as Chris Argyris said, are really skilled to be unaware of their incompetencies. So the higher you go, the more you study, the less you are competent to effectively assess your level of incompetence. It is proven that people who are highly skilled, they rate higher than they are actually performing. So they overrate, okay?
I see.
Because they are unaware of their level of incompetency. They are not able to measure their gaps in the skills they have to demonstrate. And not only thinking skills, cognitively speaking, but also emotionally and practical or behavioral skills. So why it is important to be prepared, trained, educated as a leader is because you are not aware fully of who you are and how you work. So you need others to show you better ways to do it. And if you're not humble to recognize that, you will never improve. And okay, you might get money, you might build a great company, but you are only in a level of competency that you are able to see, and you are not really seeing it sharply and effectively. So when you are trained or coached as a leader, you increase your level of awareness. With that, you increase your competency level, and then your performance will be higher. And that is critical. The greatest leaders are always coached, They are always mentor. They have a spiritual guide. They are exposed of retreats annually. They are having a psychological advisor who always coach them on how they can be better thinking, feeling, and behaving. So as a leader, the higher you go, the more you need to learn. The higher you go, the more you need to be coached. So it is in the academy as a scholar, the more you study, okay, the more doctorate degrees you have, the more you need to learn, because the things are changing so fast that what you knew yesterday is not valid anymore today. Okay? And in corporations and nonprofits and government is the same. You have to sharpen your saw, as Covey used to say, right?
Yeah.
Using this parable and this story of that we need to sharpen our tools, where we need to sharpen our brain, we need to sharpen our heart, and we need to sharpen our body to be able to perform better. So any leader requires coaching. Any leader, no matter how successful, no matter how high he or she is, they need to educate themselves, to prepare themselves, to learn themselves, and to be coached. That's why coaching and learning is strategic for any leader to be better than they are right now.
Before moving to the Click Institute concept, which is a very, very good concept and outstanding, I want to you sharing some tips for trainers. A lot of trainers are watching us actually, and learning is evaluating a lot. So what kind of tips or techniques that you can share with us, especially now in the new never normal, in the new era of COVID-19, when we are obliged to switch to digital facilitation?
Yeah. We'll go back to the 4Ds of leadership that I can easily apply to learning and to education and to facilitation of learning. One is to be diverse. So try to build, not try not, just do it, right? As Yoda used to say. So it's like build teams of facilitation and design that are diverse in culture, diverse in cognition, and diverse in identity. So people from different backgrounds and perspectives that can enrich your team. Okay? If you don't have a team, if you are an independent freelancer, a trainer, okay, or designer, well, try to do volunteer work in JCI, ISEC, or in any other nonprofit with people from different cultures. So you learn from different perspectives. Second, the D of divergent. Try, not try, do, be creative, right? So be innovative. Be able to break patterns in the way you design and in the way you actually facilitate. So think, what is the new thing I will do in this session? What is the new concept? I will learn first, practice, and prove, and then share with my audience. What is the new activity or technique that I will experiment in this new program? The third one is digital. So now, and you were mentioning that, and you were part of a program recently with us, the certificate of digital facilitation, and you were one of the outstanding practitioners and facilitators. So how do we actually incorporate in our normal dynamic of education and learning facilitation the digital spaces? Well, learn about new digital tools, Mentimeter, Slido, Padlet, Kahoot, Wall, and many others that are there. Most of them are for free. Learn about not only Zoom that we're using right now, but also WebEx, GoToMeeting, and Microsoft Teams, and Google
Google
Meet,
Meet.
and
Yeah.
other platforms that can allow you to really use the power of digital equipment and platforms so you can reach more people. And you can also build communities so you can learn from and learn with. And the fourth is disruptive. Go and learn with those who are challenging the current way of educating and facilitating.
Mm-mm-mm.
Go and learn from those who are changing dramatically the status quo and the current way of doing things. And learn from them, learn with them, be able to join incubators, ask and interview disruptors of any industry or any area in your city, in your country. And also, thanks to the digital environment and possibilities we have, contact those disruptors, no matter where they live and no matter where they work, and ask them for 5 to 10 minutes for an interview. And then use that interview to challenge yourself to do new things and to start thinking about how can you be disruptive. So as a trainer, as a learning designer, as a learning facilitator, it is critical that you are using a diverse, a divergent, and a digital and disruptive approach when you design and conduct learning experiences for anyone.
Catherine said, go to learn with those who challenge you. Yes. And that's very, very important. It's amazing, Fernando, because you delivered thousands of hours on stage, but you keep the flame and the motivation to deliver trainings, to explain more, to teach people, and to mentor people. What's the secret about that?
I think there is a selfish approach and there is a selfless approach.
Mm,
The selfish approach is that whenever I help someone, I coach someone, I help someone to learn, I am learning.
mhm.
So, from the selfish approach, whenever I help somebody else, I am learning to be better myself.
Okay.
From the selfless approach is that I am a natural giver. So I love and I enjoy giving others and helping others. So when I do that, I fulfill my mission and I fulfill consistently my values because one of my values is to service, is serve others. So um, when I do that, when I keep that passion and that flame that you describe, what I am doing is just fulfilling my meaning in life and honoring my gift and my talent and my mission in life. That is to serve others by helping them to be better than they ever believed possible.
A big question because people are asking me all the time during my training of trainers sessions. Are we made to be a trainer or everyone can be a trainer? This is the question. What do you think about that?
I do believe that each person has a vocation, a gift, a talent. So, for instance, I am not good painting and I am not good playing instruments. Eh? Maybe I can learn how to paint
Mm,
and maybe I can learn how to play an instrument. In fact, I want to learn how to paint and I want to learn how to play an instrument, but it's not in my nature. In my nature, there is grab a mic and speak, grab a pen and write, get a computer and write. Eh? So I am a writer and I am a speaker. That when I was born, God said, "Hey, that guy, give him this gift." Okay, so all of us we receive some gift. We can say that it's because of our spiritual faith, or it's because of genetics, or it's because of the environment and those conversations of to be created or to be nature or creation or whatever these mindsets and perspective states. But I do believe that anyone can become a teacher and a learning facilitator of somebody else. Only through conversation you can actually transform a life. Only by showing or sharing your story you can transform a life. Maybe, and I agree, some people are better speaking and researching and transmitting content than others. But I do believe, from a very down to earth perspective, is that anyone can become able to transform the life of somebody else only through a conversation, through a story. We can change perspective and we can help others to change their mindset. And from a fixed mindset, they can become able to master a growing mindset when they are able to change and learn and transform the way they think, they feel, and they behave.
Got it. I'm really proud to be part of the Click Institute, to be a clicker, because we had an outstanding experience online. For my case, we started learning at midnight, and it was a big challenge because we had 3 days learning from midnight to 2 a.m. And it was really amazing, with more than 33 nationalities, more than 80 or 90 participants. What kind of innovation or invention that you did with Lars Hazen and all the faculty team? What's Click Institute? People want to know about it.
So Click Institute is a think tank and a space for learning, for thinking. We have as our mission to help people to click so they can be more innovative and create a better society. So we believe that people are able, thanks to understanding and co-creation and collaboration, to actually be more innovative and solve the problems of society in a more effective way, elevating the quality of life.
Mm.
So um, how do we do this? Well, click for us mean four different things. So click is I click with you. So we connect beyond communication. So we're connected. We clicked because we're connected
Mhm.
intellectually, emotionally, physically, spiritually. The second is it click. So I got it. I understood, right? Okay. So I intellectually or cognitively understand something when I say that click. Okay. And also we see it from that project, that program, that idea clicked when it is successful, right? So to make a project click is to make it successful, right? And
Yeah.
the fourth one is the more traditional, that is clicking in the computer, clicking a key of your keyboard, okay? Uh, or touching when now the new click is the touch because
Yeah.
we have screens without keyboards, right? So that is the more digital component of what we have. So when we look for societies to be better, to understand beyond our differences and leverage our similarities, then we can actually create better societies. And that is the ultimate goal, is that through helping people to click, they are able to be more innovative, solve the problems of society, and create better societies. How we do that? Okay,
Yeah.
we have different spaces of collaboration. We have an academic council with PhDs and doctors in different areas and doctoral candidates that are setting our lines of research. As I mentioned, we have 3 lines for the next 3 years. One is cognitive, cultural, and identity diversity for innovation. The other one is humanization of digital and technological transformation. And the third one is social mobility through better quality of education, upskilling, re-skilling, and out-skilling. There is also the advisory board. The advisory board are those who strategically, the most of them are coming from companies, government units, or non-profits, who help us to be better in our strategy and execution. There is a servant leadership team that is, we are the movers and shakers, the executors of the strategy. And there are also two other spaces. One is the space of the Youth Council. The Youth Leadership Council is integrated by young people from 16 years old to 30 years old who actually gather in a council to analyze the problems of society, use the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs of the United Nations or the Global Compact, and suggest actions, areas, or movements that the think tank needs to consider as we build our strategy and as we are consistent with our values. And the other space is the space of the ambassadors, okay? People like you who are ambassadors in each country, and they represent the philosophy and the strategy of the think tank. And you are activating local councils in cities and in regions and in countries that are gathered by academics, by scholars, by business leaders, by nonprofit leaders, by government leaders, by sport and scientific leaders, science leaders, who gather in each of the cities and the countries to think about the same areas and also to conduct research locally. So those are the ways that we do. We also reduce our digital gap in the midst of in the COVID-19 pandemic by educating teachers, leaders, and team members to be digitally literate. Okay? Yeah. Also, through mindfulness, we're conducting a program in terms of emotional and mental health in Spanish first. We are going to then be translating it to English and conduct it in English, and also to French and Arabic and other languages like Portuguese and Japanese that are also very interested in translating our programs to be conducted locally in the Middle East, in the north side of Africa, and other countries around the world. And we're also launching in January a program that is the 4D leadership. Mm-hmm. So we're conducting in 1 month a certificate with 8 classes and a ninth of celebration that will be helping leaders, business leaders, government leaders, university and academic leaders, and also nonprofit leaders to be able to increase their skills in the area of diversity, divergency, digital transformation, and disruption.
And it will be online.
It is online, yes. It will be online after COVID, and once COVID reality is improved, we're going to be conducting 1 program per region. One will be north of Africa and Middle East. The other one will be in South of Asia and Asia Pacific, and the north, Russia and China, East Europe, Latin America and Canada.
For the North
those are activities.
For North Africa, let's be selfish. We are ready to host it in Tunisia, okay?
It will be a pleasure. It will be a pleasure.
We have a few questions. So you answered the question of for the digital facilitator, we have our friend Walid Bourawi, who asked us when it will be done secondly or second edition.
We also have in January a second edition of digital facilitators. So we're going to have it the 3rd week of January is starting the 2nd cohort, and this time will be a certification. So those who took the certificate are able to get the certification, and those who didn't will also go through the process. It will have an exam, a test that is a pre-test, and then a post-test, both cognitive, that is besides the skills-based observation and assessment.
I want to thank you a lot. Just we need to visit clickinstitute.com, which is your website, and also you are present on all the social media on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. Also, you have an official page, Click Institute. I will put the link. In this video, I want to thank you. Thank you to Olympia, your wife. She's driving for 1 hour now. Thank you so much for offering us this opportunity. I know that you have Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you and to your family.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I learned a lot from you. Still learning. You are one of my mentors, and I admire you. I will give you the stage, the floor now. If you want to say something to all listeners and people following us.
Yeah, just first to thank you, Fares, for this opportunity to share my views and my experiences and my expertise with your audience. I think the biggest message is to actually increase our awareness and know that we have a lot of unconscious biases that prevent us to click with others, and that by understanding those biases that we do not know that we have them, we can actually be better in clicking with others and making our relationships more meaningful and effective. Second, that we also create advocacy. We need advocates around the world to be speaking of the need to be more diverse, to be more respectful of differences, and to be able to connect better. And then to take actions, because awareness and advocacy are not enough. We need to take action. And it can be taking action with only one person. If you can help only one person, and if you can help only 1 minute, that's okay. And if you can help more, wonderful, it is welcome. But if you can help only 1 minute, we will take that minute, and it's only one time, we will take that opportunity. We have a lot of ideas, and we need those ideas to improve society. So whether it is with us through our think tank in Click Institute, or with any nonprofit, or in your own private organization, in your own government unit, or a school, or a university, please, please think about how you can identify and regulate your unconscious biases by being more tolerant and more accepting of differences in others, so you can click better and create better societies around you.
For sure, you'll be back another day for another talk, because you've been on a lot of organizations like ATD and etc. So we talk about learning and other topics. Thank you so much. I want to announce my next talk. So I will receive and I will host Sardik Love, who is one of the most outstanding trainers in ATD, Association
And he's
of
a very good
Talent.
friend of mine.
Yeah, I know.
He's a very good friend of mine.
I'm gathering all the friends for the talk. So yeah, so Sardik Love will be with us at 9 p.m. Tunis time next week. Thank you so much, Fernando. Happy Thanksgiving, and greetings to Olympia and all the family. Have a safe trip. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.